Howdy. So what we're going to do today is we're going to show you a quick showcasing of what our two robots currently look like, and also a little sort of showcase of how they drive as well. Okay, so this right here is one of our robots. This is our test one. This is our intake right here. We have rollers right here. They're going to funnel the balls into here. It lowers down like this, so I'll pick up any of the balls and bounce them over into here and feed it in. This was actually our original design, just this down here, but we noticed was a lot of balls just hit the side and then bounce back off. So we built this, and another thing, we had to extend a little bit because this by itself didn't actually touch the ball, so it's extended now, which is why we need a second set of rollers so that the balls actually get contacted and forced in. On the inside, nothing too much. We just have our hopper system and a little conveyor belt we're building, hopefully funnel the balls into the shooter, which will be right here. A little bit of space saving. We have all of our power boards right here and our Rio down here. And right down here we have is one of our second bots. You'll notice that it has the same sort of roller design, just a little bit different. A little bit of test bumpers to see our width with our intake once again. A couple more. Then we have our hopper storage space right down here, just to store a lot of balls. Our original test, we got around 47 in there, so it should go pretty well. Okay. So right here we have a robot, and we're going to get a little drive demonstration from Caleb over here. Say hi. Hi. Okay. Forward. Yeah, backward. And spin it. Okay. You're good. Now this is only possible because we have these little swerve drive systems right here, which allow us with 4 motors to be able to turn it, spin it very smoothly. So the reason that these swerve drive modules are really important is because, like I said in the video, it allows you to be able to turn and drive really smooth and quickly, making it essential for any sort of routing and actual playing defense or just picking up game materials really fast. Without a swerve drive system, you're kind of rendered obsolete. Now, the only big trade-off that you have here is for the fact that building a swerve drive is not only expensive to do, but also hard to program, making tank steering a viable option for early game teams, which I highly recommend. Is trying to start off with a swerve drive, even though it's the best model, is going to be really hard to achieve off the bat. Howdy again. So the reason I really want to bring up the importance of swerve drives is specifically for anyone who's wanting to start a new FRC team, is it's a really big part of how you're going to start off. Because tank drive is really nice for a couple reasons. It's really easy setup, so you sort of understand how wheels are going to work without having to do too much researching. And also the coding for it isn't too bad either, meaning that people getting into programming for the first time, once you're starting this event, because most people are going to be new to it, is sort of get a nice, really easy introduction into it simply because of the fact that it's not too hard to code. While on the opposite hand, swerve drive, I feel like, is something that any new FRC team should go into later, like our team did for 1977. We originally started with the tank drive and moved to swerve drive, which I feel like is a really important part because swerve drive is not only really complicated to build and finicky too. If you get one part wrong, it's going to be entirely messed up. But it's also really important to do later on because the coding for it is a lot. You have to make sure that you can have gyro, which is essentially telling your wheels what directions they need to be in, which you have to learn how to program offsets. And then you also have to learn how to actually program the wheels themselves to move. And a lot of that is kind of difficult to do off the bat. So I feel like any new team should start with tank steering just to not only get used to how to build these sorts of things, but also to get used to coding as a whole, because starting it off with swerve drive would be really rough unless you have a lot of tutorials to go through and your entire team or your entire crew is okay going through all those tutorials. Not to mention as well, it's also really expensive to buy swerve drive modules compared to tank steering modules. I do believe, however, that any team that starts off with tank drive, once they get accustomed to it and get accustomed to coding and how FRC works as a whole, should move to swerve drive because it helps so much more, is way faster, and tank steering does sort of hold you back. Even if you're really good at it, you eventually have to pivot to swerve drive to be able to be a better team.